you very much. Thank you. If you get any more excited, this is technically an insurrection. So take it easy. Mike, thank you to you and to your family. And this is the type of business that makes Northwest Florida special. You're multi-generational, caring about your customer, meeting a need, standing for the Constitution, and being a place that your neighbors can be proud of. And there's no place I'd rather be tonight than in Jay, Florida. And it means so much to me that you join me. I'm also honored to be joined by a couple of your local officials, Ray Eddington and James Calkins. Thank you for serving on our county commission and for joining me this evening. We put this together a while ago, and I thought I'd start into Funiac Springs and have coffee and head on down the road, met with some veterans, and head on down the road, go to another small business, went to the food bank, went out at some of the family farms we have here in Northwest Florida, and I never thought we'd be at this moment where America was at risk of looking more like a third world country than the greatest society that has ever existed in all of human history. This indictment against President Trump is not only factually unsound and legally unreasonable, it is explicit election interference. And I think everybody knows that if Donald Trump wasn't running for president again, and if he wasn't winning, this wouldn't be happening. Joe Biden has had classified records in his house since 1974. I wasn't even born. I wasn't even a twinkle in my daddy's eye. And this is really an affront against us, against the people, because I think there are a lot of people who hoped that the revival that we were all a part of in 2017 and 2018 to get this country going again, to get our economy moving, to get wages rising, to get growth, they thought that that movement was something that was just temporary. They could kind of get through it, and then we'd just go back to the good old days where it sometimes didn't even feel like it mattered to us, whether it was Republicans or Democrats we voted for, because both parties were working for the same special interests. The lobbyists that would sell you out, that would sell out our country to make a buck. I've seen too much of it. I've been so honored to be your congressman for the last 7 years, and I proudly stand before you as the only Republican in the Congress who doesn't take any money from any lobbyists or special interests or political action committees. Their money is no good with me. I work for you, not them. And of course, there'll be times we disagree. This gentleman's wearing a Florida Gator hat. I find it impressive. But at least when we disagree, you'll know that it comes from the heart and that it's a place of sincerity, and it is not the compromise that I see so often influence the decisions of my colleagues. And one of those decisions we just saw last week. And I want you to know that Northwest Florida's vote was against this terrible $4 trillion in additional debt for our country. And we had the Uniparty all for it. The establishment, the Republicans and establishment Democrats were willing to work together because you know what? There isn't a single lobbyist in that town who wants less spending. They all want the trough to get bigger so that they can get their snouts down in it. And we often wonder, who's really at fault for this spending? Is it the president's fault? Is it the fault of the Republicans or the Democrats? And the bottom line is that we have devised a system where we can borrow against the future of our country, and everybody gets to point the finger at somebody else. Oh, well, you know, I voted for the debt limit increase, but I didn't vote for all that spending. Oh, well, I voted for the authorizations, but not the appropriations. This confusion is not a bug of the system. It's the feature. It's what they try to do to confuse all of you and to keep moving our country on a path of managed decline. But it doesn't take anything but common sense to realize that when the credit card is maxed out, it's a pretty good time to start thinking about your spending habits. And so I'm not going to vote for these increases in the debt limit and these massive spending bills if we don't see some real cuts. And I don't like these horizontal cuts. Take 1% off of every agency. take 2% off every agency. You know, that hurts our military. That hurts our veterans and our VA. That can hurt our homeland security and our border. So I'm not going to go up there and vote. That's the easy thing, right? Just take 2% off everything. I want deep vertical cuts. I want to abolish the Federal Department of Education and the EPA and the Federal Department of Labor. These entities that exist only for the bureaucrat. And the Department of Education is 8 stories high, takes up a whole city block, and doesn't educate a single kid. Doesn't help teachers. You know what they do? They create more paperwork for the teachers, and they drive the good-hearted people out of the education business. Far too often, that is the thinking.